A regional leader calls on CARICOM not to turn a blind eye to the situation in Venezuela. And in sport, Grenada's Prime Minister renews calls on CARICOM heads to help save West Indies cricket. I'm Ricardo Roberts, and this is Caribbean in 10 for Wednesday, July 5. I'll be back with the details after the break.
It was quite strong, this feeling about the First World War. That was the bad war. The way that war is discussed is largely now through experiences of those who survived it, those who lived in it, or by highlighting particular episodes, like there's a lot of stuff being written on the Balkans.
I mean, there's no such thing, you know what I mean? You could never sum up what you do. When I look back at what Quincy Jones did, who was one of my idols and who's still working, your lifetime work will be determined by the length of the marathon. I feel a lot of people are getting gas, but it's still 40-yard dash in, you know what I mean? The marathon is like the long haul, you know what I mean? But I always tell people I'm that kid that went from the hut.
As CARICOM leaders meet in Grenada for their annual summit, one of them is calling on the regional body not to turn a blind eye to the political situation in Venezuela. St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chasney told CMC News that while CARICOM countries must not seek to interfere in the South American countries' internal affairs, they have to take an interest in what's happening.
Absolute consensus by CARICOM that there should be non-interference. But it's what's said afterwards. The fact is that from a security perspective, that we're very concerned about the deterioration of things in Venezuela, because it has impacted us from a security perspective. We've seen an increase in the movement of arms, we've seen an increase in the amount of money laundering, and just basic criminal activity. So I think that we have to take an interest in what's taking place. I think that the deal here is that both the government and the opposition need to get their stuff resolved, because it is having a negative impact on this hemisphere.
Chasney says he expects there to be discussion at the three-day summit on the situation in Venezuela, where opposition supporters have been taking to the streets demanding the resignation of President Nicolas Maduro. But CARICOM Secretary General Erwin LaRocque said earlier this week it is not an agenda item. Meantime, speaking at the opening ceremony of the summit last evening, incoming CARICOM Chairman, Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, said there's a need for a unified position on Venezuela. There's some division in CARICOM over the stance the grouping should take on Venezuela, with St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda, and Dominica all urging their colleagues to stay out of the country's internal affairs. But Mitchell says the grouping has to get it together.
As a region, as neighbors, we need to be concerned about the anomalies and excesses and about extremism on all sides of the fence. We must stand united to condemn violence from whichever quarters it comes. We must therefore not retreat from using our close ties to nudge all parties to a position of dialogue that will be in the best interest of the people of the Bolivian Republic of Venezuela.
A commission of inquiry has been launched into an alleged plot to assassinate Guyana's President David Granger. Reports of the plot surfaced earlier this year when a businessman claimed he had been approached by another well-connected businessman to take out the president. He said he was offered $7 million Guyana dollars to do the job. Police had been investigating the claim, but Minister of State Joseph Harmon has confirmed a commission of inquiry is now being set up to look into it.
The President has in fact ordered an inquiry into that matter. We are going through the phases of preparation for it, and I believe that within another 2 weeks or so that we will be able to make public that commission of inquiry and the identity of the person or persons who will lead that inquiry. So it is not a matter of not having confidence in any particular entity, but it's the right of the President to determine at any time if he requires a deeper level of investigation or inquiry into any matter. And so the Commission of Inquiry has been a mechanism which has been used by this administration to ferret out information which would not necessarily or usually be available to the regular investigation.
Stay with us. Your Midday Sport is next.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
CARICOM Chairman and Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell has renewed calls for regional leaders to come together to save West Indies cricket. Speaking at the opening of the 38th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Grenada yesterday, Dr. Mitchell said there is an urgent need for CARICOM leaders to get back on the course on the current state of the game. Mitchell, who was once chairman of CARICOM's Prime Ministerial Subcommittee on Cricket, says he and several regional heads are disheartened that after CARICOM had taken common positions to assist in addressing the crisis of West Indies cricket, certain governments later publicly adopted different positions. Last year, the CARICOM heads endorsed the recommendations of Cricket Governance Panel report and affirmed they be implemented, alluding to the recent failure of the team to qualify for the Champions Trophy and the possibility of them missing the World Cup. Mitchell says these have been the symptoms of the current crisis facing cricket. The new CARICOM chairman says Cricket West Indies, as presently constituted, has ceased to pay attention to the alarm bells. Mitchell contends that CARICOM can and must do better in dealing with the issues surrounding West Indies cricket. Former West Indies head coach Phil Simmons has applied for the hotly contested position of India head coach. The 54-year-old, who has in recent months served as coaching consultant to Afghanistan, joins Indians Ravi Sastry and Virendra Sehwag, along with Australian Tom Moody and Cricket West Indies former director of cricket Englishman Richard Pybus in the race for the position. Simmons applied during the second round of applications, which was initiated by the sudden resignation of incumbent Anand Kumble. The legendary former Indian leg spinner's one-year contract was up for renewal, but he was favoured to retain the position based on a recommendation by the Indian Cricket Board's Cricket Committee. Simmons spent just over a year in charge of West Indies, during which time he led them to the T20 World Cup title in India. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.